Hello and welcome to What Are You Saying? #Ways, where we talk about topics in the news as it affects us all. I am Osayua Mesalit, and today I'm joined by my amazing co-anchor Uti. Hello, go Uti. And of course, we have a guest co-anchor with us, Emanuela Ojia. Fondly known as Manny, she is a quintessential leader and a dynamic lawyer with over 15 years in the legal profession with a wide array of experience covering international and business law. Our lady lawyer. Hello, drum roll. Hi, Manuela, how are you?
I'm very well, how are you?
I'm good. So tell me, who is Emanuela?
Okay, like you said, Manny is a leading lawyer in the legal space, and I have a law firm in Lagos, Abuja and Benin, but head office in Lagos. And we focus on a variety of things from complex and civil litigation to intellectual properties to oil and gas law, business and finance.
Powerful.
Yes, real estate law, telecommunication, fintech law. So yes, we just have one or two things going on here.
I like the idea. After you mentioned everything, I say one or two.
One or two things.
Let's just keep it modest.
Let's be modest.
Let's try.
But that's really nice. So it means that you can't try me. If you try me, I have a lawyer.
Finally,
Can't
you'll be hearing from my lawyer.
Yes, you will hear from my lawyers. But it's really, really lovely to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
We're supposed to be having Milola, so she will join us very soon. So today we're talking actually from the offshoot of what we had yesterday as a conversation. We talked about curbing the drug abuse in Nigeria, and we had something very funny where somebody was talking about. It says
Tying them to a post and flogging them,
Uti,
right?
I was in shock.
I know. I couldn't believe it.
I was in so much shock. But the guy was so very convinced that, tying up drug users to a pole and flogging them would actually bring solution, to the menace of drug abuse, So we want to talk about addiction in general, because it's not even so much, because when I was looking at it, it's not so much of drugs. Some people are addicted to alcohol, some people are addicted
many vices.
to many vices. So we want to talk about addiction in general. How do you curb, what's the most effective way to curb addiction? And here's what we found as today's quote. Someone who is trying to be sober is often trying to work out deeper emotional issues and is attempting to undo years of habitual behavior. When you reduce recovery to just abstinence, it simplifies what is really a much more complex issue. All right, so today as I mentioned earlier, we're discussing how we can curb addiction effectively, and it's our ladies' night out. So it's going to be me, Uti, Milola, Manny, and we're going to be asking, what is the best way to deal with people or someone that you know that is trying to come out from addiction? And when we open our phone line, we would really love to hear, especially for those that have people that are dealing with addiction, or someone, or you are the one dealing with an addiction. We really love to hear what you have to say. But first, let's take a break to see what we found in the news.
The disbursement of the Davido 250 million naira orphanage support fund has commenced. Only government-approved orphanages qualify to register via the link on your screen. Registration opens at 11:59 p.m. on Monday, the 29th of November, 2021. Registration closes at 11:59 p.m. on Thursday, the 2nd of December, 2021. For more information, please contact davido.orphanagedonations@gmail.com. This is supported by PlusTvAfrica.
we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
A 500 naira they collect them. If you no talk, they go beat you. Now 2,500 and they pay.
You're still watching Ways. These days, electronic devices such as smartphones, tablets, and computers make up an important component of our everyday lives. While communication has become easier and more efficient than ever before, these technological advancements have brought with them new concerns about privacy and security. There's even a holiday dedicated to keeping your online data safe and secure. It's fittingly called National Computer Security Day. Now, the most obvious way to celebrate Computer Security Day would be to focus on ensuring that your computer, your devices, and the data you have in your cloud are all secure. One very important thing to do for your online security is to have strong passwords and keep them updated regularly, as this reduces the chances of your personal data falling into the wrong hands. Now, when I was doing this, I just remembered we need to bring in our security, cybersecurity
Experts,
guru.
yes. Confidence.
Is it confidence? No. The name is
Isn't it Confidence?
Elsie Wikilos.
Or Constance?
Constance. I think so. That's the name.
Yes. It was funny when you were reading that. I was actually thinking about the feedback that she gave about setting passwords and not choosing words but choosing phrases. So almost like saying my first house was in Oniru, and then you take the M, F, H, and set passwords that are really strong like that. But yeah, it's just a lot of things to be mindful about when it comes to cybersecurity. I think the more and more data becomes accessible, it gets cheaper, smartphones, more and more people are getting online and they're not thinking about the risks of in the cyberspace. So really how to protect yourselves. And in truth, a lot of these apps are free on the App Store. You just go there, you download. Even the ones that aren't free are affordable. So really just try and protect yourself as much as possible.
Milola Tiwa online. Welcome back.
How you doing?
Have you been hacked before?
Hacked?
Her name is actually Confidence Stavely. Yes,
Confidence
she's
Stavely.
CC nerd.
Okay.
That's her name.
That's it.
And have you been hacked before?
I've been duped.
No, we're talking about online hacking, not
No,
duping.
I haven't been hacked yet.
You say yes. Are you expecting it?
You can never tell
Nigerian
if you're on
side
this,
of you,
if you're online. You should expect that
Anything can happen.
Yeah. So I think I'm lucky yet till it happens. For now, I haven't been hacked.
How about you, Manny? Have you been
No, I haven't. So I think I'm very careful. Yeah. So
with your passwords and all of that?
with everything. Although I have just one password, so if you get one, you get on. Yes, but it's very.
You keep multiple passwords.
Yes.
I usually
No,
keep
I
one
have too many
password.
things I can't keep up.
No, so that's the thing. So if, again, I think part of the feedback that she also gave is if you can't keep multiple passwords in your head, then use a password manager. So you can. She gave some apps so they can go and watch the show.
So do you really
again.
trust those apps?
Yes. But it's safer than, like you said, if your one password gets hacked, that's it. But the fact is, even today, I'm logged into Google, and when I go into set a password somewhere, it gives me like a recommendation, and I just use it and I save it. Or there are other apps that you can download, and then it sets passwords for you. Because I mean, the hackers are getting smarter, they're getting faster. So it's not enough for you to just have a birthday or my son's name or all those things, you're just at risk. So
I agree.
They catch you.
take it up.
Israel was a God forbid.
Why do hackers
But you know
hack
what?
though?
We'll talk about it when we get into the show.
Yeah, well, of course, they'll hack. I mean, if your Instagram gets hacked, imagine you that have a business. They can actually hold your Instagram account. Yeah,
but I've seen people who have random Instagram accounts, many exciting stuff going on, and they get hacked.
Yeah, it depends on your network.
So sometimes it might be that they are just testing to see.
No, not necessarily. I think
targeted.
Sometimes they hack them so they can beg their followers for money.
Yeah, so many different scams out there.
So they follow your network.
Yes.
You might not have a lot of followers, but you have very powerful network.
Oh.
So yeah.
Exactly.
All right, so who are we start with? Let me start with you, Uti. What did you find for us in the news?
All right, so I found this headline very interesting. It says FG bans 91 billionaires VIPs jets, insists on 30 billion naira duty. So I think we talked about this a few weeks ago, a while back anyway. We talked about the confiscation of planes and them giving them time. So it says here, top pastors, business moguls, banks and oil firm CEOs affected. NCAA, FAN and ANAMA get letter to ground affected planes. Aviation Ministry and Customs on a warpath over flight ban directive. So long story short, the federal government has directed the Customs Service to ground 91 private jets with a total import duty bill running into 30 billion, that's billion with a B, 30 billion naira. And this, for me, really, the kind of people who will have private jets, I can't do the math in my head. 30 billion is how many zeros? It's 9 zeros, right? So if you divide that by 91, let's just divide it by 100. That's about...
Trillion?
No. If you take 2 bits, so that's about 6 zeros is what? 6 zeros is a million. So that's about 30 million ahead for those jets, right? So
I can't believe we have so many people.
If we have billionaires...
we have a lot of private jets.
So if we have billionaires, right? For me, this sometimes is like the double standard of Nigeria. You and I can't clear a car today without paying our duty. We can't get anything out of the port without paying our duties. I know a jet flies in, so technically it's not locked away somewhere. But if we're telling me that you can't collect 30 million, I hope my math is correct. Viewers don't come for me, but 30 million or 300 million, if you can't collect that from a billionaire, I mean, he's not using his last dime to buy a private jet. So why is there the implication, or it's being implied that there's a double standard? So the fact is, you have a jet, pay your duty. So let's watch the space and see. I think we're coming to the end of the year. We're coming towards election season. Federal government
have to raise money.
Yeah, so,
they have to raise money. Let me
so
come
that's
to
what
you,
it is.
Bidola.
What I have in the news is an NSAS update, and that's from the governor. Mr. Macaroni files rejects Sanwo-Olu's invite for peace walk. The president, the governor. Let me read this story. It says some NSAS campaigners, including Folarin Falana, aka Fowles, and Debo Adebayo, aka Mr. Macaroni, have rejected the invite by the Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu to a peace walk for the healing of Lagos in December. The governor, in a speech on Tuesday on the Lekki shooting of October 20, 2020, said, in December, I will be leading a walk for peace to herald the healing of our land. Let me use this occasion to extend an open invitation to our youth, members of the diplomatic corps, civil society groups, students, and the media, as well as other stakeholders to join me. Specifically, the governor invited Falana, that's Fowles, Adetom, Seun Kuti, Commissioner of Police, Akim Odumosu, and a couple of other people. But the story is these two men have come ahead to decline the invite of the governor.
It's quite interesting how you fight so hard. I mean, I listened to Festus Keyamo saying that the judicial panel was illegal. You fight so hard to want to kill this thing, then all of a sudden, on one mouth again, you're talking from two sides of your mouth. You're calling for a peace walk. On the other hand, you're not admitting. So I can only understand why Falana and Mr. Macaroni would reject, because you first of all must admit to say, you know what, I'm sorry. Yes, I made a mistake, and all of that. Then you can now say, okay, you know what, I want to heal the land. You can't keep trying to run away from the reality of owning your mistake and now using the other mouth to say you want to.
I think maybe trying to also, so I think the call for the walk is a bit premature, but maybe trying to leverage the goodwill of the fact that they actually did the panel, and even though they've been trying to debunk it and whatever about the report, but maybe trying to leverage on the goodwill of the fact that they did go through with the panel. I think that if they're even going to try and have any kind of peace walk, they have to start to show implementation of some of the recommendations from the report, and then people might be willing. But the wounds run deep, so it's quite premature.
Yeah, absolutely. Manny, what do you think about this?
Yes, I think it's quite premature to say anything now.
As a lawyer, are you are you following up the matter? Well, you know what? Let's take your story.
Okay.
Let me not put you on the spot.
So what caught my attention in the news today was the headline in Punch. It reads, 8 pellets of cocaine are excreted to raise 7 million naira for IVF. Lesser Hajj-bound woman arrested in Abuja. So let me read what it says. It says, an Ogun State-based businesswoman, Olayinka, was traveling to Jeddah, that's Saudi Arabia, for Lesser Hajj, and she was arrested by operatives of the NDLEA for allegedly ingesting 80 pellets of cocaine. So for me, what caught my attention here wasn't the fact that she actually ingested 80 pellets, of course, which is a big deal because she could have, had brain damage occasioned by cardiac arrest due to cocaine intoxication. So, but that wasn't it for me. It was her reason for ingesting and trafficking the cocaine. So she said she had been married for 28 years without children, and she wanted to raise 7 million naira for IVF treatment. So I just think that Nigerians will find any reason, justification to commit crime.
And then try and explain it away. Explanation.
I believe that it speaks to a deeper problem. If your pursuit for a child will lead you to
endanger your life.
Exactly.
And the same body with which you intend to carry a
child
is what you are endangering with.
Exactly.
I mean, obviously she's gotten to a point where the desperation has pushed her to this point.
Yeah, I think so.
I try to always look beyond the surface of an issue. The mindset we have around having children is crazy.
In Nigeria.
The desperation.
I think she was just trying to...
Everyone will share testimony.
Yes.
My thought on it is that she was just trying to sway public
sympathy.
Thank
you.
Using that line
actually
that
what
is
I
because I'm trying to raise money for an IVF. That's how come I ingested 80
Now,
pellets.
sentiment is not
That's total.
But
BS.
it's not an excuse. Ignorance is not an excuse. Sentiments don't even hold
It's not going to get her off from
but
the crime.
she was trying.
She was trying. She was
Nigeria.
to make an effort.
Yeah.
Let me quickly take my story. So Jack Dorsey says he has resigned as CEO of Twitter. He says, not sure anybody heard about this. I resigned from Twitter. He tweeted, and he said, so he's decided to leave Twitter because I believe that the company is ready to move on from its founder. He says, Twitter former chief technical officer, that's Parag, has been announced to take over as the CEO. This is actually very interesting because we're talking about building a company that outlives you which day. So when I saw this, I said, this is nice.
That's very unusual.
Very unusual, but I like the fact that he's trying to remove himself from the business and let us see how the business will just grow. And Nigerians were the ones that will just hold on to this thing.
We never want to let you
one thing. So, but I like the fact that he's resigning, and I hope, this will bring bigger growth for the company.
Well, he's quite a controversial character, I guess. He's never shied away from difficult situations, rather, and he's been quite vocal. So
yeah, I think he has prepared his company for this.
Yeah, I mean, typically, generally, a company at the same.
The disbursement of the Davido 250 million naira orphanage support fund has commenced. Only government-approved orphanages qualify to register via the link on your screen. Registration opens at 11:59 p.m. on Monday, the 29th of November, 2021. Registration closes at 11:59 p.m. on Thursday, the 2nd of December, 2021. For more information, please contact davido.orphanagedonations@gmail.com. This is supported by PlusTvAfrica.
Thanks for staying with us. Now, developing an addiction isn't a character flaw or a sign of weakness, and it takes more than willpower to overcome the problem. Abusing illegal or certain substances can create changes in the brain, causing powerful cravings and a compulsion to use that makes sobriety seem like an impossible goal. But recovery is never out of reach, no matter how hopeless your situation seems or how many times you've tried and failed before. With the right treatment and support, change is always possible for many people struggling with addiction. And the toughest step towards recovery is the very first one, recognizing that you have a problem and deciding to make a change. It's normal to feel uncertain about whether you are ready to start recovery or if you have what it takes to quit. If you're addicted to a substance, you may be concerned about how you're going to find an alternative way to feel good. And it's okay to feel torn. Committing to sobriety involves changing many things, including the way you deal with stress, who you allow in your life, what you do in your free time, and how you think about yourself. So if you are an addict or you know someone who needs help, this conversation is for you tonight. Please let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. We're going to open our phone line in a short while, but I just wanted us to discuss the subject of addiction, right? Because it seems like when I've had conversations in different quarters, different people, and it seems like a lot of people are on drugs. It's just that the level at which they are attached to those drugs is in different degrees. But a lot of people do drugs, and this is an offshoot from what we talked about yesterday. I don't know if they can pull out that video. When I saw the video of the boy in the gutter, we've talked about these things in several ways. I don't even know how we are going to start. But when we had that conversation yesterday, and someone was talking about,
oh my God,
we have to tell viewers discretion, please.
This is really bad.
Someone was talking about now this kind of young man. You say you tie him to a pole and flog him. That is the way of correcting or curbing addiction. How is that going to work? Who am I going to start with?
So I think I'll just jump in there. So when I saw that, my first reaction was, what are you talking about? But I tried to process it a bit more to say, look, what could be the thought process? Here in Nigeria, we like to use an extension of that because, this is a mental disorder. Let's forget how it starts.
It's happened.
But it is a mental disorder. So this is an offshoot from that. The second thing that occurred to me maybe is, okay, if enough young people, because crystal meth, methamphetamines is a thing, and peer pressure is a huge thing when it comes to drug abuse. And the economy of the country today, as we commonly say on the Twitter streets, Nigeria kills dreams. So these are young people who are clearly frustrated. So if your peers seem to have been able to disconnect from reality for a little bit with drugs, then it's a possibility that you're having a bad day one day and you get to try it. So my second thought was perhaps the flogging is a deterrent, maybe not for those who are already addicted, but maybe as
those who are watching,
like a preventive measure, right? To say, look, this is where you could, because I remember he was saying something about shaming people, right? So maybe this is to sort of shame and prevent the other people who are not yet addicted or maybe just starting to use it from it. But in no way, shape or form can physical abuse be the fix for a drug addiction. You can literally, you go to rehab and what do? You're secluded so that you're away from the temptations and the drugs and all of that. But there's a process because there's so many reasons why you can, and I know when we talk about addictions, we're talking before the show about not just even focusing on just drugs. Alcohol in itself is a source of an addiction. Tobacco is a source of an addiction. People have all sorts of vices from even physical activities like sex. So the reality of it is addictions can be anything. And if you're going to get to the bottom of the addiction, then there must be an understanding of the psyche of the person and what got them to that point in the first place. So flogging, like I said, I tried to rationalize it yesterday, but I don't think it's...
Let me come to you, Milola, then I'll come to Manny.
I believe people need to understand why people abuse drugs. It goes down to the foundation of why. And oftentimes, people are disconnected from self. There's a whole lot of battle that folks are struggling with, and the way we process challenges of life differs. Some people would naturally take to drugs. No matter what happens, some people will never do drugs. So for me, fundamentally, why do you do drugs? Why are you doing drugs? And another thing that we don't seem to understand with drug abuse is there's a bit of a struggle on the part of an addict to not be able to control themselves. If there was any measure of self-control in the first place, you won't be addicted.
You're addicted to coffee.
No, he's an adult. Like I said, there's a thin line between being an addict and an indulging human being. I just indulge myself in coffee, but oftentimes, a friend of mine said to me, there's a chemical that the brain produces that doesn't allow people who are addicted to drugs to be able to have any measure of self-control or the willpower to prevent usage, because drug addiction is excessive usage of anything. It's initially good, and then it goes bad because you become a compulsive user and then you become addicted to it. So I believe fundamentally we need to understand what are the chemical thing in the mind, in the brain, that triggers the desire. We are all addicted to our phones. Social media has made a lot of us addicted. The dopamine, the feel-good hormone, is what we feel every time you go online and you see your engagement. The same way you feel a downing emotional imbalance when you feel like your post or your page or your is not getting the right attention. There's an effect, and you can literally find yourself on a timer. Once there's a particular thing, just like, wait a minute, I haven't checked my phone. And you are compelled, you are propelled to go and pick that device and check. Now, some of us can justify it and say, oh, we're doing business. It goes down to the self-control.
Addiction in general. You know.
Okay, so for me, I would like to look at it from the medical aspect, though I'm not a doctor. But I think we should look at drug addiction as a medical condition, because that's some of the people that are hooked on drugs actually started by taking legal drugs, legal medication.
Prescription drugs.
Yes, and they got hooked on it. So when we look at the causes, then we can think about solutions in curbing drug addiction in Nigeria. So for me, I think we can go back, like Milola said, to the foundation. So instead of looking at the symptoms, we can go down to the foundations. And if we're looking at it, we see that some of these people have not been brought up properly. So we go down to the roots. There's a parable that says that it takes a village to train a child. Yeah, to raise a child. So we look at children from good homes. You can differentiate between the good ones and the bad ones. Well, most of the time, you know, today I was having this discussion with my mom and I was like, okay, how is it that in my house, my brothers never abused drugs, alcohol, they didn't join any cult. Why is it? What did she do differently? Okay. So we have to go to the roots sometimes. What is it that is sometimes it's occasioned by parental neglect, parental abuse, family beliefs. Yes, it triggers it. And you know, we can also look at the psychological part of it. We can look at things like depression. Depression is an illness. It's real. Bipolar disorder, personality disorder, anxiety, you know, even poor school grades.
Doing anything.
Exactly.
And somebody comes and offers me, you know, I mean, go on Lekki Ekpe Expressway, for instance. On that Ajah, from the Ajah Junction and all of that, those boys, as early as 11 a.m. in the morning, they're already gone.
Did you say
they're already gone? Yes, 8 a.m., 7 a.m. Exactly.
They're already gone. Like, you can't see, when you see their eyes is red, is already, you know, like when the eye is gone, you know that this person is not here. This person is just walking, but the person is not here. Those guys do heavy alcohol, heavy drugs. You understand? Go on the streets in Lagos. You know, it's everywhere. So I like the fact that you're talking about parental guidance and all of that. But you see, I want to say that the people that do drugs now, right? You see them doing drug addiction. The streets, that's why you're doing drugs. It is everywhere, you know, and it's the same thing, right? And the sad part is, what beats my imagination, because I've been with people that are addicts. I have someone that's an addict to alcohol. I have someone that's an addict to drugs.
Yeah.
You know, what beats my imagination is the inability for you to see beyond the damage. Yes, to see yourself. The damage that you're doing, not just to yourself, but also to the people around you.
I don't
so how do we help?
But that's the nature of addiction.
Yes.
And there's so many reasons. So very careful, like you said, not to profile who an average addict is, because there is a wide range. Come down to the article that I shared about gutter juice, where there are places in Lagos where they are mixing tramadol, rohypnol, codeine, mixing it into things like Ribena, and children are drinking it.
They are even baking.
Exactly. So there's all sorts. And then there is, you're using from frustration. There's recreational use. I mean, let's not talk about celebrities who use drugs.
Yeah.
So there's all sorts of reasons. People who are under high states of pressure, like the example you gave with the students, even in workplaces today. Look at the kind of pressure that we live under in Nigeria. Some days you just tell yourself,
I need to shut down.
I want to shut. Even sometimes you think I just need a good night's sleep. And you want to take
Somebody wants to go and drag. Somebody says, I want to send I want to send an email, but this kind of email I need inspiration. So I need to go. You know what? Let's take a break. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. It's not even funny. Now, if you just tuned in, it's our ladies' night out. And our focus today is how best can we deal with addiction or help an addict around us. Now, please let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. Our phone line is also now open. Please, when you call in, turn off the volume of your television set so we can hear ourselves. And the number to call is 07025007749. The number again is 07025007749. All right, so ladies, you know, I had classmates in school. They came out with almost first class. But you see these people, before they can walk into any examination hall,
they have to double.
They have to go and take some things.
There you go.
Do you understand? They have to go and smoke some things. And this is how some people are able to control it. Some people cannot control once they start. I know somebody that once he starts with a glass of alcohol,
that's it,
until he is drunk completely.
I know people like that, so they binge drink. So they just go from bottle to bottle to bottle.
So how do we help those kind of people?
You need to understand addiction is a thing of, is in grade and it is in phases. Just like you said, that some people are able to control their level of indulgence. They are addicted, but they indulge. They know where to draw the line, but they are addicted. And there are those who get really, really bad on using drugs, and they really cannot control the outcome of it. These are the extreme cases of drug addiction. But then, it's all a function of interest. Why do you want to do drugs, and why are you hooked on drugs? Like Uti said, there's a lot of pressure. Trust me, this country would frustrate you. If you ever indulge in drugs, there's a chance you do it again. You know, there's a popular quote that says, when a man is first exposed to crime, he abhors it. If he stays long enough with crime, you get accustomed to it. And the longer you stay with crime, you become influenced by it. So it's pretty much a function of how much do you allow yourself, conditioning, to indulge in drugs, and how then can you control your level of addiction. There are people who are addicted, but they've been able to find a fine balance between living an optimum life while they're addicted to drugs, and those who get completely destroyed just because they're hooked on drugs. So there are people who would say, just like you said, before they can write an exam, they will have to dope up. But then they look normal, they carry out their normal functions.
Functional addicts.
Yes, they carry out their normal functions. Yeah, they're able to optimize their life performance by doing drugs. You can say it really doesn't have an adverse effect because they find a fine balance between doing drugs and maintaining a state of equilibrium or a state of equanimity, if you put it that way. But there are those, like this kind of boy we see on TV is really disturbing. And this is where a number of our Gen Zs are caught within. Yeah. There's a high number of young people, even high, we do not know shit about the kind of things that these young people go through. When they have conversations and tell you the kind of things they do, your mouth will like literally drop. But those are the ones that I'm concerned about because we scaled that hurdle. We were not exposed to that lifestyle. Not that we were better, but our lifestyle, time.
The kind of, and that was what I was saying, the kind of drug
that were available.
That were available there.
It was not as advanced.
Not as deadly as
this one now.
Advanced.
And then we were not as daring. Yes.
Yeah, so I think, I mean, at one point, it was such a big deal if someone, I remember when we were in secondary school, such a big deal if someone had alcohol. And the only thing you sort of used to hear a lot about was marijuana. I remember my one of my trips back to Nigeria on holiday, and we were driving down the road, and my cousin saw a friend and said, "Oh, hop in the car, let's give you a ride." And the guy said, "Where are you going?" "No, I'm going to Susan and So Street." And as soon as he hopped out of the car, my cousin said to me, "Oh, he's going to buy cocaine." I was like,
just like that.
Just like that, exactly. So the drug business has always been here. If you even read, I read an article that was talking about the genesis of crystal meth in the East and how cartels, even though it was a very badly written story, but even going as far back as the 60s to when these cartels have been, the drug trade has been flying through Nigeria. And to be fair, NDLA, it was something that I've always heard, even as far as back when we were in the 80s. It just maybe isn't, the culture today has shifted. A lot of things, there's a lot more acceptance, there's a lot more boldness around these things. But today, the plethora of drugs available, first of all, from, like you said, the people who are, it's on a different level, So there's something for every budget.
Yeah. For every budget.
Yeah, there's something for everyone. And if you then start to talk about, like you said, your question, how do you begin to help people? You've got to force them through the withdrawal process. But if you don't, bring out young people. Because all these young men, I see them all the time on the streets. Children, we even understand where those ones are coming from. But I'm like, where are your parents? Did you go to school? What was the plan?
Mohammed from Borno State, I believe. Hi, thank you for calling. Salaam alaikum. Are you there? Is he there? Oh, sugar, we lost him. Sorry. Okay, so
I have a comment.
Go ahead, yeah.
Yeah, my comment is from Henry, and it says, drug can be reduced amongst the youth if we get them busy with something.
Yeah.
Engagement.
A
lot, just like Manny said, a devil's mind, an idle mind is a devil's workshop. A lot of young people are not adequately engaged. And there's something else that I noticed that causes a lot of young people to abuse drugs. It is a high sense of entitlement in our culture, where people think that people hold them stuff. And because of that, they self-sabotage and they self-destroy themselves.
Let me take youngest old man from
regular fella
from Lagos.
Hi.
Yeah, hello, are you there?
Hi, thank you for calling. Thank you for calling us.
Yes, it's a nice topic today, and I think this drug thing is a pandemic. And one day I imagine if a time when it comes before you come into any office in this country or go to the youth service or anything, you have to go through drug test. You close mouth, you be perplexed, according to my friend. You understand? A lot of things happening about drug taking, and the secrecy about drug taking is what is paining me much. People are secretly taking drugs in different ways, and I don't even know how they form it, but they form it on their own. You just hear one type. Imagine somebody sniffing toilet, somebody mixing 3 cups of syrup. And the last one I heard the other day was, what's the name of that one? They mixed, I think this camphor, this naphthalene ball, with a solid liquid like that, and it becomes a hard drug. Not even about the ice one, they call them milli. That one is regular. There's another one that is out now. So I think the organization should start bringing out tests, even offices, places, where they'll get your drug test included in your CV. A lot of things are happening, even in our forces and other things.
Thank you so
very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Let's take more comments. Manny, you have a comment as well.
Okay.
Go ahead,
I have one from Isaac Olatunde Olubowale, and that says, how can we curb addiction effectively? He says, addiction in any form can be effectively curbed. And it says, 1, if we restore sound teaching and learning in all areas of human growth and development. 2, if we restore and celebrate learning and not just acquisition of papers. I'm assuming he's talking about educational certificates here. And then 3, celebrate the dignity of labor and not the getting of wealth any way, anyhow. Knowledge is power. It's a bit stupid.
Thank you.
Okay, let me take Isaac, then I'll come to you, Manny, for your comments. Isaac, are you there from Ekiti? Thank you for calling. Isaac, are you there? Did we lose him again? Okay. Manny, let's take your comment.
Okay, my comment says we need a high level of parental monitoring to curb addiction among the youths, and the drug addicts need a strong willpower to be set free from addiction. So it's back to the parental monitoring.
You want to comment on that?
Yes, I totally agree. Because like I said before, most of the drug addicts started from the house. Charity begins at home. Yes.
I think that even if yes, it starts from home, but I think a lot of people, when Uwa said you'd be shocked the kind of people that take drugs today, you'll be shocked the people you work with, colleagues that you have, you'll be shocked the people that are actually taking drugs. So there are many, many reasons. And if we focus on just parental, it would seem like our schools are full of children that are drug addicts. But you have a lot more of these kids who are not in school, right? Who the parental side is completely gone. But you also have people in our generation, millennials and maybe older Gen Zs who didn't actually experiment with drugs at all as children. That takes away the parental aspect.
Yes, but most of their issues started as children.
Not necessarily.
Sometimes.
Go ahead, Mani.
Yeah, so I'm looking at like parental neglect, parental abuse, family beliefs, family traditions centered around drugs and alcohol. Sometimes it starts from the childhood stage. So then they, like I said, some children are not confident. So to cover that part of them, they have to take drugs.
I get you. So I was going to ask that, can we also focus on reducing the pressure? Because I think what brings about that need to want to put some level of substance, because the drugs or alcohol or whatever in your system is to give you a temporal high that gives you that kind of feeling that, okay, everything that's your problem is okay. Everything is fine. Yeah. So if we start to focus on reducing what it is that causes the pressure,
that makes them go there,
that makes them even want to go into drugs in the first place, how would that help in terms of, because there's a lot of
that increase the likelihood and speed of an addiction. So it says family history of addiction, right? Drug addiction is more common in some families and likely involves genetic predisposition.
Sorry, Uti, just give me 1 minute. Let me take Loma from Abia State, I believe. Thank you for calling. Hello? Are you there? Did we lose him again? Oh, sugar. Today, the phone lines are going crazy. Yeah.
Right. Second thing is mental health disorder, right?
Yes.
Peer pressure, lack of family involvement, early use, and taking a highly addictive drug. One of the things I know that when it comes to drug abuse is the fact that curiosity is a huge thing, where I want to try it. Because I remember that when we were growing up, I used to say, how do you get addicted to alcohol? It doesn't particularly taste nice. But you start drinking it and then all of a sudden you get used to it. You get
accustomed to it.
So that's the same thing with drugs, right? You think today, let me just start with marijuana, and then you take it a little bit. You enjoy the feeling, or it's recreational, it's fine, maybe you get a bit hungry. And then tomorrow you're going to smoke more. Then eventually, the effects of marijuana don't quite cut it for you.
You now look for something
look
higher.
For something else.
It's not loud.
Exactly.
Hold on, let me take Loma. Hey.
You loud?
I go to anywhere in Lagos.
Are you
loud? You want loud? I say, do I look like?
Because
Loma,
you actually look like people that take loud.
Hey, you look like. Are you there, Loma? Loma from Abia State, are you there?
Look normal, Uti.
Did you lose him again? Oh,
do you think people have to look a particular way to do drugs?
Can you translate to me?
I don't think so.
Auntie?
You get to go. We'll discuss that.
It's not us that will be educating people what loud is.
People that do drugs are regular, everyday people.
Absolutely.
They look normal. They are balling. They are doing well. You touch on something that is very critical. Why there is increase in drug abuse, peer pressure.
Yeah.
It's not just among young people. It's amongst we adults. There's a lot of pressure amongst young people that want to be. Social media is perpetrating high degree of peer pressure. A lot of people they just feel like their life is not good enough because of what they see. They see their friends, they see other people.
So that's the formal.
That platform a lot has done a huge, and then it makes accessibility to drugs easy. You'll be shocked how many people sell drugs online.
Yes.
There's a lot of boldness to I watch a particular video and I see the way the guy was selling drugs. They put a lot of swag, a lot of packaging to it, and you're like, really? This is something you should hide in shame and not let people see, but it's a public knowledge, and you will see celebrities endorsing such accounts and platform. What does it tell you? If you're not doing drugs, you're not in town. You don't know what, you're not cool like that. So that pressure is a major driving force. It now pushes the boundary from when your foundation is faulty, then it's easier for you to become addicted, because then your peer pressure becomes more stronger. Do you understand? That's where what Manny said makes a whole lot of sense. But trust me, it's not just about the parental dysfunction or lack of effort. It's because of pressure from we young people.
Let me take, I think he's back again. He really wants to talk. Loma, are you there now?
Yes, I'm here.
Finally. Thank you for calling.
Good evening, my sister.
Good evening. Thank you for calling.
Yeah, from this Loma, from Mumbai.
Thank you.
See, there is something that the Word of God says. Train up a child in the way he should go. But some people will put it as in the way he should grow. Train up a child in the way he should grow, so that when he is old, he will not depart from it. See, some parents are the architects of their children being property. At that tender age that you're supposed to monitor them, sometimes they give children free hand. By giving them free hand, you see them misbehaving. Another area, some of these children doesn't listen to their parents. When they get to the school, society will now influence them. And once society influences you and you refuse to listen to that godly advice, the next thing you see is that person going into drugs. Now look at what is happening. There's we in the east here. We are surprised to hear Nkurumni, because that word is an Igbo name, so we don't know what it is. So it should tell you that our children are graduated in areas that it needs the intervention of the federal government, state, local government, in order to cover. Otherwise, before time now, we will start raising up wild youth that are seriously addicted.
Thank you so much.
Have no future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Loma. It's back to your point, Manny.
Yes, back to my point, but I want to piggyback on what Milola was saying. She talked about access. So that's a very important
accessibility.
thing. Yes, exactly. So I think this can also be curbed by the use of governmental regulations, that restrict access to these drugs.
So you know that it's not for lack of knowledge. Every single major drug spot in this country, the police are aware. In fact, the conversation we were having behind scene with the guy yesterday, he said that there are some spots in Mushin that the police are there even monitoring. The reason that they are there is not to stop them from selling the drugs. It's to make sure that they don't go into fights.
Yeah.
Yes. So I don't even know how. I don't even know how.
So we have a message from Benson. It says, "Greetings, ladies. How efficient is our town planning as regards engaging the youths in sporting events? The entire state and communities have no place for youth to engage besides drinking spots." So essentially saying that we should keep our youths engaged. This topic is a bit of a scary one, because the ramifications of drug use are so huge. There's crime. When addiction gets to the point where
it's uncontrollable.
It's uncontrollable. You see people, when they've gone through everything they own, they've stolen, then they turn to crime, because they must feed the addiction.
Sustain it.
Yes, they must feed the addiction. And when you think about the cadre of people in the volumes that we have who have this, next thing you're going to see is, home invasions will be on the rise.
Yeah.
Because I have to find
money. Don't even scare me in that one. Let me take Fumi, our final caller for the evening. Thank you so much, Fumi, for calling.
Hello, good evening.
Thank you, Fumi, for calling. Let's hear what you have to say.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you live. Did we lose her? Oh, sugar. All right, so Ade, finally. Our YouTube is working today. From the UK, it says, "Good evening, ladies. Having drugs is a bad addiction. When the society or environment is bad, it becomes an hobby or a hobby. It's supposed to be a hobby. However, having alcohol is not a bad thing, but must be put under control. Alcohol users should know there's limit than becoming a binge drinker." Uncle, when they are addicts, they really don't. you know what, they can't really help it. So you can't tell the person, you know, I always say to, I don't know who I was talking to, I said the reason I stopped a long time ago allowing anger as a negative emotion to come to, some people are addicted to anger, need little thing they're angry, you know. The reason I stopped, I try as much as possible, no matter how someone hurts me, to just, you know, move it away, is because anger is that emotion that you cannot tell that, you know what, come in and stop here. This is the limit, this is the boundary. You can't say, just come and make sure just stay here, from here, go back. No. It takes everything. And that's how drugs, that's how alcohol, that's how all these addictions happen. You can't say, oh, no, I just want to do one. You know, at some point, if you really must help yourself, you must cut off completely, even from people. Even from people.
That trigger.
Yes, even from people. You must cut off from friends, you must cut off from people, because until you get, and that is where I understand the rationale behind them. When you go to the rehab center, some of them, they have to tie them to the beds. It's because if they do not have that access to get up from whatever it is that, you know, they can't do anything to themselves. Do you understand? So it's a big issue, and it's something that we'll keep talking about, because we really cannot exhaust the conversation. But I think we've had a fantastic conversation. Thank you so much, ladies. Hopefully we will bring it back, and we'll be able to find more avenues to help people. I was really hoping that anybody that was listening today and you're addicted to something, you would actually find a reason. Just look for one reason that would give you that hope to stop. Because sometimes...
And get help.
Yes, and get help. You know, you must be able to, first of all, own it that I am an addict. Milola is addicted to coffee.
Unlike tea.
Yes, she's addicted to coffee.
I'm addicted. It's a good life.
But thank you, Manny. Thank you, Milola. Thank you. What are you addicted to?
You find out.
Thank you for watching this.
And what are you addicted to?
Me?
Yes.
I'll tell you behind the scenes. All right, so please, if you are in any situation and you really need help, reach out, please. It's not worth losing your life or your family for. All right, so before we go, do ensure you follow us on Instagrams at PlusTvAfrica. You can interact with us further. Drop a comment, and more importantly, we have started a giveaway to say thank you to you for believing in the Ways brand. So do well to follow us now, follow the conversation. And it's at PlusTvAfrica. Like, share, invite your families and friends to watch the show. So if you missed today's quote, here it is again. Someone who is trying to be sober is often trying to work out deeper emotional issues and is attempting to undo years of habitual behavior. When you reduce recovery to just abstinence, it simplifies what is really a much more complex issue. We'll see you guys tomorrow at 8 p.m. as we bring another great conversation to your screen. Enjoy.